Imposter syndrome and self-doubt. Imposter syndrome is this false narrative you believe when you are stressed. So higher stress triggers more self-doubt thoughts. But I want to disprove that today because you are just as smart and worthy as anybody else. But where does this imposter syndrome and self-doubt originate from, right? So the more stress you are in, if you are in that chronic stress, one thing after another, right, where you're actually headed towards burnout, burnout itself can damage your self-confidence. But we can fix it, and I promise you we will. You see, burnout leaves you questioning what and how you're doing your work. You're often feeling inadequate because you're so exhausted, right? Maybe it used to take you 30 minutes to write a report, and now it's taking an hour and a half to finish that same report. That is because you're exhausted. Maybe you're not formulating your clinical judgment the way you used to, that's very efficient and quick. You're going to start questioning your judgment there. But I promise you, that's not who you are. That comes from that burnout, from that chronic stress. It is draining your confidence, right? Because when we're burnt out, we're questioning, will this ever end? Am I gonna find the end of what's going on? And I promise you, you can. But the biggest lie that burnout makes you believe is that you're not worthy to do the work and you don't deserve to be trusted. But these are lies because you do. You do the job you do because you're good at it and you have the skills to do it. So trust yourself and your past experiences, right? If we're questioning our confidence because of burnout, then that self-doubt is coming out of the emotional state of burnout. It is not coming from the truth and from our reality. It is coming from the emotional state we're in, that survival mode that we're stuck in. And we want to get out of that. So how do we start to rebuild trust in skills after making a mistake? And maybe the mistake happened because you were burnt out, right? Make sure that you're taking those breaks throughout your day. Give your brain and your body a chance to recharge for a moment. But I would encourage you to reflect on the positive outcomes you've had, right? Identify as many as you can from the past 3 months or further. I know you've got some positive outcomes you can find. And I want you to have some grace with yourself. We all struggle. We are not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. And we just have to learn from them and move on and look at, why did that mistake happen? Right? If it's because you were burnt out and too stressed, then look at what needs to shift next time, right? Maybe you need to try and calm that stress response before you complete that function or that task. But remember, everyone makes mistakes, and that is how we learn. And it's okay to have that grace with yourself to know, I will do better next time. I learned what I needed to learn. But oftentimes we don't think we're as capable as we are, but we are more capable than we think. And you are too, just as I am. That comes from you have skills you learned to do the job, and you've been doing the job, right? Which means you wouldn't have been able to do the job this far without those skills. You have them. Remind yourself of those, reconnect to those. You have the foundation. No matter what job you're working in, if you're working healthcare, if you're working in the tech field, you have the skills. This is just an emotional state that needs to be worked through if you're in burnout, right? And I'm going to guess you have the desire to learn. Most of us are very curious and we love learning. Learning can be fun. It can be invigorating. And you were hired for a reason. Reconnect to why you were hired for the position, right? What drew you to wanting that position as well? Those can help you rebuild that confidence. And last, stop seeking validation from others. We're all prone to this. I fall into this a lot. But the truth is, you are who you are, and you have great skills, and you're a great person. So I want you to focus on finding those positives within yourself. Name them each day if you need to. Find one or two things to focus on of what you like about yourself in that day. But you can rebuild your confidence, right? Just to recap, look at why you got into the field you did, why you wanted the job you have, why they hired you. You have the skills, and find those one or two positive things about yourself. But you got this.